This is episode 107 of Are You Quizzing Me, your favorite quizzing and trivia podcast show. And today's audience question is as follows. Zweit's Buch is the sequel to which best-selling book? Let me repeat the question. Zweit's Buch is the sequel to which best-selling book? The answer to this will be revealed at the end of today's episode. Now let's roll the music! Welcome to Are You Quizzing Me? I am Vineet Nair with my co-host Aditya Kashyap. This is a quizzing trivia podcast show. Join us as we dive deep into history, science, pop culture, and so much more. Let's get quizzing. And welcome back, people. Aditya and I are back for another round of quizzing. And without further ado, let's start off. Aditya, why don't you hit me with one of your questions?
All right. I have a good bunch of trivia lined up for you today. Things I have found from various sources. Some of the sources I've forgotten. The ones I remember, I will give due credit to. But let's start off with my favorite question of the lot. Have you heard of this gentleman, Donald Lau?
No.
All right. Not surprised. But what you will be surprised to hear is the fact that Donald Lau claims that he is the most widely read author in the United States of America.
Okay.
He has been writing, or he had been writing for almost 3 decades, after which he decided to step down or retire from writing because he felt a certain writer's block.
Okay.
Do you know what is Donald Lau's most famous seminal piece of writing?
I have absolutely no idea. He's supposed to be America's most read author.
Self-proclaimed, but he has some sort of backing to that claim.
Okay. I'm guessing this is a kind of sideways question. I'm guessing it's not a book. So it must be something like a newspaper. Was he the author of a comic strip?
Okay. Very, very well caught on to the fact that yes, it is not a book that he is famous for.
Okay.
But it's not a comic strip either. Though you are on the right path in terms of it's something very short form.
It's a very short form. I was thinking of a cartoonist for the New York Times or something like that, or the New Yorker. He can't call himself the most read person in America for that particular reason. And considering that this is America, I would consider the Bible would be probably the most read book. But then considering what some of the politicians in America say, I don't believe many of them have read the Bible.
Also, I would imagine that would probably be a very controversial statement to claim authorship over the Bible.
Wo bhi hai.
So no, he has nothing to do with the Bible or nothing religious per se. I would say it is cultural though.
Okay.
There's some cultural aspect to his writing. Not religious, but cultural for sure.
Cultural aspect to his writing. You said the name was Don Lau, right? Donald Lau.
Lau. L-A-U.
So I'm guessing he's Asian.
Yes. I've not found any specific source which confirms it, but I am going on a limb here and saying he's probably Chinese.
Yeah, with a last name like Lau, or maybe a family name like Lau, it could be possible. Possibly Chinese person.
Almost definitely Chinese, and something to do with something culturally Chinese as well.
Something culturally Chinese. I don't know. Crazy Rich Asians keeps coming to mind, and my mind keeps going to mahjong tiles, but I'm guessing it's not that.
No. Okay, let me give you one more hint, okay? So, Donald, his writing is almost as if more of a side gig, a hobby that he pursues or something he's good at, but not necessarily his main occupation.
Okay.
Because that would be a chief financial officer at a food company.
He's a chief financial... Oh. Okay. I'm either way off or something's really hit me over the head. Are you talking about Chinese fortune cookies?
Yes, it is Chinese fortune cookies.
Are you kidding me? One guy writes all of that.
So, Wonton Food Company is the largest manufacturer of fortune cookies in the world.
Okay.
And Donald Lau is the chief financial officer at the Wonton Food Company. So, he retired from his writing gig in 2016, and since then another of the employees of the company has taken over the job.
Wow.
But 3 decades ago, when he first started doing it, he was perhaps the best at writing in English or best at, whatever, expressing his thoughts. So they tasked him with coming up with new fortunes for the fortune cookies. So For almost 3 decades, he was the one writing all the fortune that he found in the biggest fortune cookie manufacturers' cookies.
Wow, nice.
And that's why he was the most read writer in all of the United States.
No, that's very nice. That's a very nice question. Very out of left field. I like it.
I don't know how much credence you want to give to New York Post, but New York Post claimed that he decided to step down in 2016 because he was facing writer's block. He was like, I'm not able to come up with new fortunes as I used to be able to.
This is basically them admitting that fortune cookies are bullshit. If the person says, I have writer's block, then these are not fortunes anymore.
But hey, listen, maybe he's not a good conduit anymore to the universe speaking to us. Maybe that's the reason. Though interestingly enough, because fortune cookies have been around for a while, I want to tell you one, and I'm sure there are a lot of interesting ones that have been found over the years. I want to share one with you.
Okay.
There was a fortune cookie which was introduced as a piece of evidence, and it read, SF judge who rules for LA, not very smart cookie. And this was in some sort of a dispute over company in Los Angeles claiming that they came up with fortune cookie, and one company in San Francisco claiming that they came up with the fortune cookie.
Oh God.
And it went to the San Francisco's Court of Historical Review, and there the fortune cookie was introduced as a piece of evidence which said, SF judge who rules for LA, not very smart cookie.
That's a very nice one. I don't have any particular segue to my next question, but I found this interesting enough because, well, you'll figure out why I found it quite interesting. I'm going to be talking about a particular fashion designer, an American fashion designer, who also has a sideline as a filmmaker.
Okay.
This particular person was a creative director at Gucci and Yves Saint Laurent until 2004, when he left to launch his own eponymous label.
Mm-hmm.
And he's directed 2 movies. One was a 2009 movie called A Single Man. And the second was a 2016 neo-noir psychological thriller, which received rave reviews with an Oscar nomination, 9 BAFTA nominations, Golden Globe nominations for Best Director and Best Screenplay, plus a Golden Globe nomination for a Best Supporting Actor. So I want you to identify the fashion designer, and I also want you to identify the movie.
Okay. You said 2016 was the very lauded film, right?
Yes, 2016 was the lauded film, yes.
Neo-noir, what is the genre again?
Neo-noir psychological thriller.
Neo-noir psychological thriller somehow, and 2016, I'm pretty sure it's around 2016, if not exactly 2016. Is the movie by any chance Nightcrawler?
I know why your mind went to Nightcrawler, but it's not Nightcrawler.
Okay. And you said Best Supporting Actor.
Yes, there were awards. There was a nomination for Best Supporting Actor at the 89th Academy Awards, 9 BAFTA nominations and Golden Globe nominations for Best Director, Best Screenplay, because the director, this fashion designer man, also wrote the screenplay.
Oh, okay.
He wrote the screenplay, he directed, and he produced it.
Interesting.
I was shocked to find out that this was the person who was behind all of this. It was very surprising to me.
Okay. But it's not Nightcrawler, right?
It's not Nightcrawler. Though you will be, how do I put this? A little frustrated, or maybe, oh, I was so close when you hear the name of the movie. Because you said Nightcrawler.
Okay. So something similar to the vibe of Nightcrawler, or does it star Jake Gyllenhaal by any chance?
Yes, it does start Jake Gyllenhaal, yes.
Oh my God. That's not fair at all. Okay.
Yeah.
Jake Gyllenhaal film from 2016. Okay, that's not something that's gonna...
Nightcrawler was 2014, by the way.
Ah, okay. Missed it by 2 years. Let's try the fashion designer approach. You said worked for Gucci and for Yves Saint Laurent, right?
Yes. Yves Saint Laurent.
Yves Saint Laurent.
Yves Saint Laurent, yes.
And then has an eponymous brand. Since when was the eponymous brand launched?
He launched his brand in 2004.
Oh, okay. So it's been around for a while.
Yes, he has. I guarantee you know his name.
Okay. This is very surprising. A film director who's also a fashion designer, and I can't immediately think of one.
Oh, this is exactly why I was shocked. I did not know that this man had done it. I'll also give you, I mean, it's not a clue how you'd hardly remember it, but he also had an appearance in Zoolander.
I have criminally, I must say, skipped Zoolander. I have not watched Zoolander.
Oh my god, you've not seen Blue Steel? Oh god.
Exactly. And I've seen all the memes and stuff, but I've not watched the movie.
I'll give you one more clue. Maybe this might help.
Mm-hmm.
In 2022, the brand was purchased by Estee Lauder for $2.8 billion.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Forbes estimated that this person, the designer we are talking about, earned about $1.1 billion from the deal.
Ooh.
And in 2023, he stepped down as the brand's creative director and is no longer associated with the brand, even though it's still named after him.
Okay. No, I need something probably more to do with film work because the fashion work is not my forte.
Okay, so let's combine the two. This is probably the giveaway clue. This person designed Daniel Craig's suits for the final 4 Bond films: Quantum of Solace, Skyfall, Spectre, and No Time to Die.
Oh, okay.
This director, this fashion designer was also mentioned in Justin Timberlake's song Suit and Tie, which was a collaboration with Jay-Z. Do you see the common thread here that I'm going through?
Common thread. I like a little wordplay over there.
Thank you.
I don't know. I would have imagined the Bond suits. I don't know why Armani comes to mind.
Yes, you're on the right track because you're thinking suits. I'm giving it to you. The common thread here is suits. The Justin Timberlake song was Suit and Tie. He designed the 4 suits for James Bond, for Daniel Craig. So this is somebody who, even though has menswear, beauty, eyewear, accessories, probably known mostly for menswear.
Menswear, suits.
He's dressed Daniel Craig, Tom Hanks, Johnny Depp, Ryan Gosling, Will Smith, Hugh Jackman, John Hamm, Henry Cavill. They've all worn his suits. So much so it was, at least for some time, it was a byword, you know.
Okay.
So-and-so suits.
Okay. No, I'm, again, not my strength.
Okay. Last clue. For the person anyway. Think of a fashion designer who also has a last name as a car brand.
Oh, Tom Ford.
Ah, very good. It is Tom Ford.
Oh, what? Tom Ford has directed movies?
Yes, 2 movies.
Okay.
The first one was called Single Man.
Okay.
And that was in 2009. It starred Colin Firth as an LA-based college professor who is gay.
Okay.
And the second movie is the one I'm asking about.
Something released in 2016, a neo-noir, psychological thriller.
Oscar, Golden Globe, BAFTA nominated movie. Starring, I'll give you the star list. Starring Jake Gyllenhaal, Amy Adams, Michael Shannon, Aaron Taylor Johnson, Isla Fisher,
What?
Armie Hammer, Laura Linney, Michael Sheen.
Ooh, what? This sounds like a pretty great cast.
It is a pretty great cast.
Also, you said Isla Fisher as well?
Yes.
Alongside Amy Adams? Amy Adams and Isla Fisher are the...
They look very much alike. Yes, I am aware.
doppelgangers. Okay.
This is a movie there's a book inside the movie. So there are characters being played in the movie who are also in the book. It's a little meta. It's a little noirish. Very well received. And my clue to you would be, think of the movie that you guessed first.
I guessed Nightcrawler.
This is very, very closely named.
Evening, sunset, day, afternoon.
No.
Oh! Is it... What? Nocturnal Animals? Did that have...
Yes, it is Nocturnal Animals.
Oh, I've not seen it. Okay, interesting. Wow, what a great cast. I didn't remember that was the cast for the film.
Yes.
Wow.
And it's a Tom Ford movie. I could not believe it when I found out.
That's insane. That should not be trivia. Like, that should be more common knowledge.
It's a good movie. I remember it being a good movie. I remember seeing the name Tom Ford, and I was like, Tom Ford. Who's expecting this guy who's known for suits to be directing such a great movie?
Right.
And he got nominated for Best Screenplay and Best Director.
Interesting. Okay.
And the list of nominations, there's an entire Wikipedia page for the list of accolades received by this movie. I'll just give you a small list. So Tom Ford, designer extraordinaire, got nominations for Best Adapted Screenplay from the Writers Guild of America Awards. The Venice Film Festival nominated him for the Grand Jury Prize, which he won, and the Golden Lion, which he did not end up winning. The Critics' Choice Awards for Best Adapted Screenplay. The BAFTA Awards for Best Adapted Screenplay and Best Direction. And the rest of the supporting actor nominations all went to Michael Shannon.
I should watch this film.
It's not everybody's cup of tea. It's about a man who takes vengeance on his ex-wife through a novel. It's a little weird kind of movie, but well worth watching. That was one of those questions that I had in my pocket. Now, there's another question which I have been carrying in my pocket, which I wanted to ask you, which may not be fair to all our listeners because this is a very niche question. There's only one possible answer. There's not much guessing involved. So I'll just ask the question as a sub-question to this.
Okay.
Considering, surprising movie facts kind of thing.
Let's do it.
This iconic sports movie from the 2000s was based on a real victory and revolves around a hockey coach.
Okay.
The coach faces tragic disappointment during his chance at the Olympics. He is then called to coach a national hockey team. The movie shows the coach practicing plays at the table in the waiting room outside the sports committee conference room. The subsequent meeting and in later interactions, it becomes obvious that the government committee does not have faith in his team. The team features young, promising players who come all with their own rivalries and egos. When the players are asked who they play for, they name their respective teams, and the coach is dismissive of all this until one player says that they play for the national team. The coach is almost brutal in his approach, focusing on conditioning, and puts the team through their paces. His coaching is predicated on passing often, and on their way to victory, they first play their arch rivals, and they lose, only to win the next time they face each other. Prior to this pivotal match, the coach gives them an inspirational speech in the dressing room, which is shown in the movie with minimal background score playing. Which movie am I talking about?
Okay. So I would imagine Chuck the India would be the wrong answer for this.
Why do you think Chuck the India is the wrong answer for this?
Because then we would edit this part out. There would be no point having this in the podcast.
No. That's no.
Most straightforward answer. It's not the "Are you quizzing me" style. Okay, so I'm gonna.
No. It's not. Okay. I need a proper answer from you as to why this is not Chuck the India.
Because as I learned from a very smart man once, do not try to play the game, play the player. And I know Vineet would not ask me a question which is so straightforward. So it's not Chuck the India. Right off the hockey stick, I can declare that. But you said a hockey film only, right?
Yes, it's a hockey film. It's around a hockey coach.
Wow. The rest of the tropes sound pretty straightforward for a sports film. Losing to your rivals and then winning against them and a inspirational speech. But the doing it on a table part was very Chuck the India. I'm surprised that has also been done before. Wait, is this before or after Chuck the India?
I still haven't told you it's not Chuck the India.
Alright, fine.
You're the one who's saying it's not Chuck the India.
Fine, let's get it out of the way.
Unless you give me a reason.
Is it Chuck the India, Vineet?
Afsos! No, it is not.
Oh, who would have seen that coming?
And there's something I said very specifically in the question which would have told you immediately it's not Chuck the India.
Oh, I didn't catch anything that was not Chuck the India. It sounded very Chuck the India to me. It was inspired by some real life incident, which also is, I think, Chuck the India's thing.
Chuck the India was inspired by the 2002 women's team winning at the Commonwealth Games.
Yeah. But no, I have no idea.
Okay. I did not expect you to get the movie. I was just hoping I could get you to say Chuck the India, which I did. So yay for me. The answer to this question is a movie. It's a fantastic movie, which is also, again, my recommendation for this week as well. It's a movie called Miracle. It was released in 2004. It's an American sports film. And it's about the US men's ice hockey team.
I know this. I know of this Miracle. Of course I know about this. All right. Yeah. Miracle on Ice, yeah.
Yes, it's about the Miracle on Ice. It's about the 1980 Winter Olympics, where America beat the Soviet Union after 20-something odd years. And if you watch that movie, you come to know immediately they took the skeleton of that and placed it in India, added some masala, changed the Olympics to the World Cup. So that's where my question differed, because I mentioned that the coach faces tragic disappointment during his chance at the Olympics.
Oh, at the Olympics. Right. That was in the World Cup only. Right.
Yes. So in the original movie, Kurt Russell's character is chosen for the 1960 ice hockey team, but is pulled out of the team before he could go to the Olympics. Like the coach cuts him before he goes to the Olympics. And then he gets a chance to coach another team again. It's a fantastic movie. I would say a lot more tense and a lot more tension building, lot less emotional manipulation than Chak De India. Frankly, I find it very difficult for anybody who tells me that Chak De India was not inspired by this. But surprisingly, I couldn't find anything on the Wikipedia article for Chak De India or anywhere else that said that this was inspired by this. But you watch the movie and the parallels are there. It's not just this movie. There's a sequence in Miracle where the coach motivates his team by pissing off one of the players.
Interesting.
You can see almost that exact scene in the Vijay Starrer movie Bigil.
Okay.
Which is a Tamil movie.
To be fair, I mean, some of these are standard tropes in sports films.
Yes, but this is almost exactly like even the sequence where Kurt Russell comes around a corner and then speaks out the corner of his mouth to his assistant coach. That should get him going. Almost exactly that same sequence in almost exactly that camera, the camera movement, everything is very, very similar. And I was a little unhappy that Chak De India, which was regarded as one of the most original, like we were calling it original content that came out of India, turns out not so original.
You know, I have thought about this. I don't know if I hate a movie just because it is inspired by films. Of course, at the end of the day, you want to give due credit to people you're inspired by.
Exactly.
That would be ideal. But if you do give credit to them and you do a very good adaptation, I'm all for it. A good adaptation is amazing. I think a good adaptation, if done well, is as good an art piece as the original.
Exactly. So the thing is, if you watch Ram Gopal Varma's Sarkar
is a very good example.
He acknowledges in the beginning itself that this is from The Godfather. Same thing for Amal Neerad's Bhishma Parvam starring Mammootty, which released a couple of years ago.
Okay.
Which was like The Godfather meets the Mahabharata set in 1980s Kerala.
Okay.
But again, that also he acknowledges quite early on that this is from The Godfather.
I don't know if they acknowledge it, but Rajniti was very much Godfather meets Mahabharata.
Yes.
Which I thought was also a decent adaptation.
Yeah, I will but still claim that Bhishma Parvam did it much better.
Okay, I'm going to check it out.
Yeah, it's a great movie. So that's my question, and I got Aditya to say Chak De India. Yay!
You did. Okay, I have a perfect segue for this because we were talking about sports. I will ask you about a certain sports person.
Oh, my weakness. I hardly know any sports people.
This one also perhaps not the most well-known sports person in the world. Criminally, if I may say so. Should be better known.
Okay.
And here's why. I am referring to Mary Earps. Again, I'm not sure if that's the right pronunciation. I'll spell it out for you. Mary, M-A-R-Y, Earps, E-A-R-P-S. Earps?
Yes, I'm guessing that's Earps. Because Wyatt Earp.
Right. Mary Earps is an English professional footballer who plays as a goalkeeper for Premier League club Paris Saint-Germain. She served as the vice captain for England in the 2023 FIFA Women's World Cup, has received the Golden Glove Award for Best Goalkeeper of the tournament.
Wow.
Was announced the winner of 2023 BBC Sports Personality of the Year award. So sports personality, not just specific to women, sports personality. So very well lauded. Some other tangential, you could say, achievement is that the first female professional football player honored with a wax figure at Madame Tussauds in London.
Oh.
Quite a few laurels that she can boast of. Recently, she also announced her retirement from international football.
Okay.
I want you to tell me, what is the name that was given to the BBC Sports documentary made about Mary Earps? The name of this, by the way, is something to do with her actual name, but a moniker attached to it, a nickname attached to it. It's a nickname that she goes by.
Oh, I don't know anything about her. That makes it much harder, yeah.
But I would not ask you a question that would be so out of the left field. Haha. Let me just indulge my own self over here when I say that the name of this documentary appealed to the pun lover in me.
Oh, God.
And should appeal to the history lover in you.
History lover in me.
Yeah.
First thing that comes to mind, Mary Earps, is Wyatt Earp. Wyatt Earp, as you know, was the famous American lawman and gunslinger.
Nah. Nothing on that line.
Okay, so it's nothing to do with the gunfight or the OK Corral.
No. Think more 16th century history.
Mary Queen of Scots.
Okay, very, very good. Mary Queen of Scots.
Bloody Mary.
No. Mary Queen of Scots is the inspiration behind the nickname for Mary Earps. What do you think is the nickname that Mary Earps has that is also the name of the BBC documentary?
Okay, Mary Queen of Scots was the inspiration for the term Bloody Mary.
Oh, don't go into the Bloody Mary side of things at all.
Okay.
Bloody Mary has a few histories attached to it. That is a trivia for another day.
Yes, but she was literally known as Bloody Mary because of the number of people who were persecuted and whatnot. I'm not saying that she was the Bloody Mary of the urban legend Bloody Mary, but...
Right. I was talking about the cocktail, by the way.
Oh, okay.
Coming back to this, Mary Queen of Scots, literally that phrase inspired the nickname for Mary Earps. It sounds very similar to Mary Queen of Scots, but it's not that, obviously. So what is it? May I remind you, she's a goalkeeper.
She's a goalkeeper. Mary Queen of Scots.
Okay, let me help you. This is a very, it's just a pun.
Somebody is going screaming at the screen right now saying you're an idiot.
You got the part that you're good at very quickly. You got the Mary Queen of Scots part very quickly. Now, just to give you a twist on that phrase, let me remind you, she's a footballer. She's a goalkeeper. What does a goalkeeper have to do, Vineet?
They have to prevent goals. They have to catch the ball. They have to...
So what's the synonym for prevent?
They have to stop the ball. They have to...
Yeah.
Man. Okay, this is extremely silly, but it makes sense knowing you. Is it Mary Queen of Stops?
Mary Queen of Stops is the right
answer. Oh my God. Oh God. I honestly thought when I said Bloody Mary, that was it. I caught you for once, but I couldn't remember. Like, I thought maybe her uniform was red or something like that, and then that's why it's Bloody Mary, but okay, Mary Queen of Stops. That's nice.
It has to be ridiculous.
Yes, it has to be.
You forget the fact that I enjoy ridiculous fun. Mary Queen of Stops is chef's kiss.
Okay. Oh God. There was a novel I read a long time ago.
Mm-hmm.
I think it was called Chapel of the Ravens.
Okay.
Which was again set in the footballing world about a goalkeeper who gets an injury, gets blinded in one eye, and then he goes to play for another football team while actually investigating something that's going on in the team.
Okay.
And then he finds out that the player who actually blinded him is also now playing in the same team. So there's a mystery going on. It's like Ted Lasso but noir.
Okay.
It's a very old novel. I think it was in the 90s. I don't remember the author's name, but I remember the novel was called Chapel of the Ravens.
Okay.
It's not a great novel. It's airport trash, which means you can read it through a flight, but it's fun enough.
Okay.
That was fun. I don't have a very good segue for this, but this is something I came across which really, really surprised me.
Mm-hmm.
I haven't been able to do too much research on it, and I haven't been able to confirm it, but I have seen it. So I'm going to trust my own eyes and ask you this question.
Okay.
Not many people know that I am a foodie, and I'm also involved in certain other projects with regards to food.
Mm-hmm.
And as part of that, I've been collecting some cookbooks. So then I've been going for some older cookbooks, looking through cookbooks and all. And I came across somebody called Mrs. Balbir Singh. Have you heard of Mrs. Balbir Singh?
No, never heard of her.
Balwant Kaur, better known by her married name as Mrs. Balbir Singh, was an Indian chef, cookery teacher, and cookbook author.
Okay.
So she started cooking and having homemaking classes in New Delhi in 1955. What happened was she emigrated to the UK at some point, and she used to teach cooking classes and whatnot. And in 1961, she penned a book called Mrs. Balbir Singh's Indian Cookery.
Okay.
It dealt almost exclusively with North Indian dishes. It was written in very simple, easy to follow language. And it was the first such English cookbook written by an Indian woman.
Wow. Okay.
So this is way before Madhur Jaffrey, who's currently much more famous, at least among us people. She was such a pioneer in teaching and writing about the art of cookery that Chef Simon Majumdar, who's a judge on the Food Network, has called her the Julia Child of India.
Okay.
So you must be wondering where I'm going with this, right?
I am.
Yes. Now I'm going to take a left turn. So I told you about the book, Mrs. Balbir Singh's Indian Cookery.
Mm-hmm.
If you look at the original publication, 1961, the publisher, that particular publishing house, publishing brand, is almost exclusively associated with a completely different genre of book. So my question to you is, who published this seminal book? Mrs. Balbir Singh's Indian Cookery was published by which publishing house? Simple question.
You said the original publisher. Have they changed? Has the publisher changed since then?
Yeah, so I think the book itself is out of print. Mrs. Balbir Singh, her estate now has a website and they have their own brand of spices and whatnot. So I couldn't find their book on their website anymore. So I don't know if the book is still in publication because they have a lot of recipes on their website and whatnot. But I have, thanks to the Internet Archive, which archives all these scanned copies of a lot of books, you can find the original version of the book on the Internet Archive, and you can confirm what I'm telling you by going and looking there when you have time.
Okay.
The original published book from 1961 was published by one particular publishing house, which is known almost exclusively for a different genre of book. What publishing house am I talking about?
Is it by any chance like Britannica, like Encyclopedia or something?
No, it's not. It's not.
Okay.
So much so, I'll give you an additional clue, so much so that at one point, that publishing house's name was almost used like a synonym for this type of book.
Oh, okay.
Instead of saying this genre of book, people would say this publisher's name, book.
I am a child of the 90s and I was a big fan of the Scholastic Book Fair. So I am going to guess Scholastic.
Oh, no.
Because that became synonymous with those young adult fiction novels at some point. Okay, but not that.
Oh, these are not young adult. These are definitely older adult.
Ah, okay. I thought much younger. Oh, older adult. Oh, something more risque.
Not completely risque, but yes, their covers tend to be very risque.
Oh, Mills and Boon?
Yes.
What? They publish a cookbook?
I am completely surprised by this. So I went down this rabbit hole of looking up old cookbooks in the Internet Archive and on Scribd, and I came across Mrs. Balbir's Indian Cookery.
Okay.
It has a jacket and whatnot, and on the third or fourth page, which has the logo, publisher's name, it's very clearly written Mills and Boon.
Okay.
Because this is now 65 years ago, I can't find records of it, and that particular book itself is now out of print. I don't know, maybe they changed publishers in between. But the original version, it's available on the Internet Archive. You can go check it out. Mrs. Balbir's Indian Cookery. It's also available on Scribd. If you have a subscription on Scribd, you can check it out on Scribd. The scanned copy, this is not even a digital copy. The scanned copy of it does show Mills and Boon.
Very interesting. So has Mills and Boon done a lot of these books which are outside their...
Apparently, they have done a few non-romance books, but I've not been able to get those details.
Okay.
Again, we're talking about something done 60 years ago, and they publish like hundreds of books a year.
Fair enough.
So it's a little difficult to get their catalog. And as I mentioned, I wasn't able to find much information about it apart from what I saw. But I'm going with what I saw, and I'm telling you that it was published by Mills and Boon.
Okay, all right.
And because Mills and Boon is such a huge publisher and they're part of the Harlequin UK group, I highly doubt somebody else would have made another brand with the same name. They would have been sued into oblivion.
Sued very quickly for that. Yeah, makes sense. Wow.
So again, just another piece of trivia. Mills and Boon novels, over 100 of which are released every month.
Okay.
Cover a wide range of possible romantic subgenres, varying in explicitness, setting, and styles. although retaining a comforting familiarity that meets reader expectations. Which literally means it'll be a brightly colored book with a bare-chested man and a woman lounging on him in some way or the other.
I love this. This is out of the left field. Like, I like these questions. This Chuck the India, Tom Ford. Very interesting questions today, Vineet. I must say.
Yes.
Let's hopefully keep that up with my next question. And this has to do with something in the publishing space as well.
Okay. Hit me.
Have you heard of a gentleman by the name of Clifton Hillegass?
No.
Clifton Hillegass was working at Nebraska Book Company of Lincoln, Nebraska, when he met Jack Cole, the co-owner of Cole's, a Toronto book business.
Okay.
Coles used to publish a certain type of book which was very popular in Canada.
Okay.
Clifton decided to bring this over to the United States of America and used to publish it under Cole's name initially.
Okay.
Eventually, he decided to spin it off under his own name. And that became so popular, just like you said, Mills and Boon became so popular. In this case, I would say even more popular because the name that he published it under at some point became a proprietary eponym for similar products. What product was this gentleman responsible for?
So, Clifton met Jack Cole.
Mm-hmm.
Jack Cole was publishing a type of book which was very popular in
Canada.
Mm-hmm. And he brought that to America.
Mm-hmm.
And now it's very popular.
So initially he published it under Cole's name and eventually decided to spin it off under his own name, or rather just start up his own thing.
Okay.
His thing became so popular that his brand name became a proprietary eponym for similar products.
Proprietary eponym for similar products. Are we still talking books?
Yes, it is a type of book. It is a genre of book, you could say. By the way, for anybody who doesn't know, a proprietary eponym is, my best example is Google or Xerox or Walkman. All of these things became synonymous with the type of product, even though they were brand names to begin with. Now, when you want to search something online, you say Google it. So it's similarly, this particular type of book also became known by the brand name itself.
Because when you first said it's very popular in Canada, I was thinking of almanac. But I know almanacs were popular in the US even before that, in the 1800s. I think Benjamin Franklin wrote an almanac way back when.
Yeah.
Does it have, like you specifically mentioned, it was very popular in Canada. Does that have any particular significance? Is Canada a particular reason for it?
No, nothing at all. It was just that it was something that was happening in Canada. And that's where Clifton first encountered it. And he decided to import that idea back into the United States.
Oh, Cliff Notes.
Oh, very well done. Very well done. That is a cracker of an answer.
Oh, you just said Clifton and suddenly it just hit me.
I actually avoided saying Clifton more than once in the question because I thought you'll get it very quickly. Well done. Very well cracked. And I must correct you. It's not Cliff Notes. It's Cliff's Notes.
Okay.
And it goes by Cliff's Notes even today. And that's a very common misconception almost. And I also thought it was Cliff Notes for the longest time. I just thought there must be some etymology to it. Turns out it's not Cliff Notes. It's Cliff's Notes. And it came from the name of the person who first made it, Clifton Hillegass or Hillegass or whatever it is. His books are called Cliff's Notes. The original ones from Canada were named after Jack Cole, called Cole's Notes. So he brought Cole's Notes to the US.
Doesn't have the same ring to it.
Yeah, and Cole's Notes faded away into oblivion, I guess, and Cliff's Notes became so popular that even today, when you want to say something is a summary or a guide or a study guide,
a précis,
you say Cliff's Notes, and that's become such a common name for it.
Give me the Cliff Notes version. Cliff's Notes version.
Give me the Cliff's Notes version, or give me the Cliff's Notes. Yeah.
Oh,
surprising, right? Like instinctively you say Cliff Notes. I think I still say Cliff Notes, but I just recently came across this. And I must give credit to one of my favorite podcasts, Stuff You Should Know. And they did an episode on this recently.
Oh, nice.
They made an effort to keep saying Cliff's Notes in that. So I'm going to try to do that as well. Because Cliff's Notes.
I think it's called a sibilance, right?
Mm-hmm.
When you have that S sound. There's too much sibilance in this particular. Cliff's Notes.
You would imagine with time, as languages evolve, this would just become Cliff Notes. And that's how it would be known.
Yeah.
That people will drop the S entirely. Cliff Notes has been, and over years it has changed ownership. And in 2021, Cliff Notes was acquired by Course Hero. which makes sense. Course Hero is an American education technology website. So yeah, they use Cliff's Notes. By the way, in case, because it's more American in nature, anybody who is not familiar with it at all, Cliff's Notes are used by students as a study guide. When they first started off in the US, they started off with 16 William Shakespeare titles. So they literally had a summary of the 16 Shakespeare works. And now they have hundreds and hundreds of books summarizing all sorts of literature and famous novels, especially the ones that are assigned to kids in the US education system.
And just for our Indian brethren who don't understand why this needs to exist, it's because the American education system actually assigns children to read books instead of giving us textbooks which already have Cliff Notes versions.
And that is fair.
So there they tell you to read the full novel, and when you're too busy to do so or are not inclined to do so, you buy the Prezi and then write a book report on that. In Indian textbooks, they compress this huge novel or something into a tiny thing and give it to you, and you think, oh, this is the story, this is it, that's khatam.
Yeah, I don't know which version is better, but yes, that is pretty accurate. That's how things work. And especially for those of us who studied in CBSE,
yes,
ICSE kids used to look down upon CBSE students for not even having to do a full Shakespeare play, and we would do only like a chunk of it, whereas they would have to study the whole thing.
Yes, yeah.
So Cliff's Notes is from the name of the founder of the company, Clifton Hillegass.
Nice, very nice. I have no segue, but to say that this is an alphabet soup of a question.
Okay, go for it.
I've made this deliberately vague because otherwise it's a very dead giveaway.
That's right.
This country X derives its name from Y, which was the autonym of a people whom we know by the name Z. Autonym is what people would call themselves. I'll give you an example. People from Kerala, we call ourselves Malayali. So that's our autonym for ourselves.
Right, got it.
We are the Malayali people.
I already have 2 guesses for this question. I have 2 guesses, but I'll let you finish.
Yes. So for the sake of our audience, but what a lot of, for some reason, Western bloggers tend to call us Keralan.
What?
Yeah, you have no idea about this.
I've never heard this.
There are a lot of Western bloggers who say Keralan food.
Okay.
Keralan culture.
Okay.
So, autonym is what we call ourselves. Okay, so let me finish the question. The country X derives its name from Y, which was the autonym of a people whom we know by the name Z.
Okay.
The most famous name of kings of these people is today a part of a colloquialism for travelers' diarrhea.
Oh, okay. So both my guesses are probably wrong at this point then. Okay, all right.
Oh, okay. No, give me your guesses. You may be right. You don't know.
But is that the end of the question?
Yeah, that's the end of the question.
Okay. Initially, when you said something about the word that they used to call themselves, I was thinking Germany, Deutschland, Dutch. I was thinking something along those lines.
Oh, very good. Very good guess, but no. Which is why the second part of the clue.
Yeah, the diarrhea part really has thrown me off. Again, that I don't think the second guess has anything to do with either. I was thinking Ghana, because the kingdom of Ghana and...
Dahomey.
Yeah, but I think this has nothing to do with the second part of the question. Okay, can you repeat what is the last clue which has thrown me off completely? Can you repeat that?
Okay, let me just break this down from the complicated way I've written it.
Okay.
So there were a people Z.
Mm-hmm.
They called themselves something Y.
Mm-hmm.
And purportedly, let me also say that, purportedly, the country X derives its name from Y.
Okay, all right.
The people Z, their most famous king or series of kings, because, many kings have the same name.
Mm-hmm.
Like Charles I, Charles II, Charles III. Similarly, one of their most famous king names or kingly names or regal names is today a part of a colloquialism for travelers' diarrhea. And also another clue would be a video game.
Oh.
With that same name.
Oregon Trail.
Oh, no, that's cannibalism.
Yeah, because I was thinking more of like the dysentery and all of that happened on the Oregon Trail. Okay, but that's not it. But you said also a video game, right?
Yes, also a video game.
Then Delhi Belly also doesn't work. Some sort of a video game name.
Yes, it was a video game. It was a fairly famous video game at one point.
That is also another word for travelers' diarrhea.
I'll tell you something about the video game. Maybe that'll help.
Okay.
This was a platform game for Atari 8-bit computers. and the Commodore 64, released in 1984.
Yeah. Okay, no, that is...
So it's one of those classic ones. And a sequel to that was released in 1998 as a 3D first-person game.
No, this is not ringing any bells. Give me some clue.
Okay, what clue do I give for this? Okay, so the origin of this term for diarrhea
Okay.
comes from this kind of purported belief that this king somehow orchestrated the illness as a form of revenge against those who conquered his empire.
That sounds interesting, but I'm not sure if that helps me as a clue. Some sort of colonialism?
Yes.
Okay. And the initial clue had something to do with the people and what they call themselves.
Yes.
And that's what the country is named after as well.
Yes, there are many theories for the etymology. This is one of the more popular ones.
Okay. Give me another etymology maybe then, because I'm completely lost right now.
Okay, so the names of a lot of everyday items, food items that we have today come from this language.
What? Okay.
Especially two specific ingredients which are used in Indian cooking comes specifically from this language. Like nowadays, you can't even think of Indian cooking without these two ingredients.
And the Indian name for it, or let's say the Hindi name for it, would be derived off of this language?
No, the English name.
Acha, the English name is from that language. Okay. There's something very common in... Ooh, okay. Because I've had this conversation with people about what is culturally Indian and what food should even be considered culturally Indian. I would say something from the Americas, because we consider potato to be very, very intrinsic to Indian food, but it's not technically native to India. So from this language, then I'm assuming you're not talking of Spanish, but the Spanish were conquerors. Is it Mexico?
Oh, very good. You've guessed the country.
Okay. What? Mexico is named after the name that the people had given themselves?
Yes.
Okay. No idea. All right. Okay.
So Mexico, which is, I believe, the correct pronunciation, is the name of the country. So that was derived from an autonym for these people. This should be fairly simple now. Which people are we talking about?
So these are the people who were in... Oh my God, I'm going to embarrass myself massively now.
Mesoamerica. There are only two major empires in the Mesoamerica that most people have heard of.
I want to say Aztec.
Oh, very good. Yes.
Okay.
It was either going to be the Mayan or the Aztec empires.
Yeah, I was too scared of saying Mayan. I'm pretty sure the Aztec pyramids are in Mexico, I think. So that's where I got it.
Yes, very good. So this is the Aztecs. What did they call themselves? You just have to change one syllable and you're done.
In the word Aztec? One syllable in the word Aztec?
No, not
in the word Mexico.
Yeah.
Mexica. Okay, fair enough. Mexica.
So Mexica or Mexica was the name that the Aztecs called themselves.
Okay.
The term Aztec is the name given by other people.
Makes sense. Makes a lot of sense.
Okay. So in that case, who was their most famous king and what diarrhea term are we talking about?
I'm pretty sure I don't know, because my history in that sphere is very weak.
Okay, so fair enough. The king that we're talking about is Montezuma, or the correct pronunciation would be Moctezuma.
Oh, the Revenge, Montezuma's Revenge.
Exactly, Montezuma's Revenge. It's a very famous video game.
I know the game. I didn't know it was Traveler's Diarrhea.
Yeah, so I think Mummy Tummy, Delhi Belly, Moctezuma's Revenge, there's all terms for Traveler's Diarrhea.
Okay. Yeah, this is some classic white racism, huh? Just like giving it to other cultures whose food is foreign to you. Delhi Belly and Montezuma's Revenge. Anything flavorful.
So for our audience who are interested, the two words I was talking about the ingredients which have come from the Aztec language. The Aztec language, by the way, was Nahuatl, which is the language that they spoke. And there are a lot of words which were taken from that and are loaned words in English today. Some of which include tomato, which is now an intrinsic part of Indian cooking. Chili is an intrinsic part of Indian cooking.
Right.
Some other loan words which are also given for foods include chocolate.
Oh, yeah. Makes sense.
Avocado.
Right.
Others like tamale, taco, chipotle. These are all from the Nahuatl language, and that was spoken by the Aztecs. So the country Mexico, one of the many theories of how it derives its name is that it derived from Mexica or Mexica, which was the term that the Aztec people called themselves. And their famous king, their most famous line of kings, there was Montezuma I, Moctezuma II, and Moctezuma's revenge, or Montezuma's revenge, as we English bastardize it a little bit, is a term or a colloquialism for traveler's diarrhea. Basically, it's Delhi belly in Central America. So I think that's all the time we have for our regular round of quizzing, right?
Perfect.
What remains now is to answer the question I had asked at the beginning of today's episode, which is the audience question. And the question was, Zweet's book is the sequel to which best-selling book? Aditya, do you have any idea?
Is there a normal pronunciation for this? Because I have no idea the way you say.
No. The way I'm pronouncing itself is a big clue. You should realize my clues are multi-layered.
Oh.
See, I'm giving you audio clues apart from the linguistic clues. So, Zweit's book is the sequel to which best-selling book?
Mein Kampf? Did Mein Kampf?
Exactly.
Oh, no way.
Yes. So the full name, I kind of cheated here a little bit because the full name is Hitler's Zweit's book.
Oh, okay.
Which literally means Hitler's second book.
Okay.
It's an unedited transcript of Adolf Hitler's thoughts on foreign policy, written in 1928. It was written after Mein Kampf, but was not published in his lifetime. It's speculated it was not published because Mein Kampf did not sell well at the time, and Hitler's publisher may have told Hitler that a second book would hinder sales even more. And after Hitler became chancellor, he tried to distance himself from Mein Kampf anyway. So it's possible that's why he never finally published it. But yes, Mein Kampf did have a sequel, and it was called Zweit's Buch. And Mein Kampf was a bestseller. It sold 5.2 million copies in 11 languages within a decade of its release.
Oh, wow.
And considering that was the 1920s and 30s, that's very impressive.
Lovely. What a beautiful, wholesome note to end this podcast on. Yeah, a sequel nobody asked for. A sequel nobody asked for. A sequel nobody wanted. And we could have all done without. But, such is life. C'est la vie.
Yeah. We have our pop culture recommendations to give. So I've already given 2 pop culture recommendations. One, I believe, is Chapel of the Ravens, which is a novel. It's an airport raid. It's by Paul Bishop. It was released way back in 1991. I read it in the heyday of the mid-90s. And I really remember enjoying the book. So maybe if you can get a copy, I don't know if it's still available. If you can get a copy, maybe just check it out. The second one would be the movie Miracle, which came out in 2003 or 2004, starring Kurt Russell. And it's, I believe, a slightly better version and a more grounded version than Chak De India. And it's something that Chak De India was definitely based off on. No getting around it. I would also like to recommend the Indian series Khaki. There are 2 versions. There is Khaki, the Bengal story, and Khaki, the Bihar story. They're both available on Netflix. I would say Khaki, the Bihar story is far superior. But the Bengal story is also quite interesting and it's quite enjoyable. So maybe something you can binge over the weekend. So you can try that. Khaki, Bihar story, Khaki, Bengal story, Chapel of the Ravens by Paul Bishop, and Miracle, which is one of the best sports movies I've seen.
Cool. I'm going to give a recommendation of 3 films today. And the first one is The Fundamentals of Caring. You cannot go wrong with Paul Rudd. I think just a wonderful actor, wholesome actor, always reliable. And this is a beautiful movie, wholesome. You end on a positive note, on a great note, and it leaves you feeling great. So I watched The Fundamentals of Caring recently. That was nice. The other movie I would recommend is Good Grief. Now, this might be maybe not a popular opinion, but I liked it because from what I read, the reviews weren't exactly outstanding, but I liked it. This stars Daniel Levy, by the way, from Schitt's Creek fame. So anybody who likes Schitt's Creek would perhaps recognize the lead actor from this film. Obviously, it talks about grief and grieving and the loss of a loved one. And I think it does a decent take on that. The third film, which I believe I have recommended in the past, but I'll recommend it again in any case, is Dilli Dal. And this is a film that I watched in the theaters recently. It came out or had a very limited release during MAMI, which is the Mumbai Film Festival in 2023. And it stars a friend of mine in it. So I went to catch it now that it's been released widely in theaters this time around. It is a very good film. It's an indie film. Don't go expecting some masala blockbuster. But it has some very unique storytelling happening over there. And the premise itself is very interesting. The name is Dilli Dark, and it talks about an African man from Nigeria, I believe, who is in Delhi and is trying to make it work in Delhi, and all the trials and tribulations that come along with being a black man in India. That's the premise of the movie, a fun movie. My friend Shantanu is also in it, so check it out and go leave it a good review.
Yeah, great recommendations, Aditya. I have not caught any of those. But I don't know if our audience has noticed. Aditya has become very distinctly highbrow these days. Like his recommendations are all like very indie, art house movies. These are not movies that you think of first in your mind. Oh, I want to watch a cinematic exploration of grief on this Saturday night. So maybe we should think, Aditya, you should come down to the masses, man. This is India. We do masala.
Here's a fourth film recommendation just for the masala lovers. This stars Vince Vaughn, okay? So you cannot accuse me of being highbrow with this film. It stars Vince Vaughn playing an Italian man. It also has Susan Sarandon in it. It has Joe Manganiello.
Manganiello.
What an attractive man. What a very attractive man. Just absolute beefcake. This movie is called Nonnas.
Okay.
And it's a movie about these Italian nonnas.
Grandmothers?
Yeah, Italian grandmothers who come together and they become the chefs in a restaurant.
Okay.
It's a wholesome, very easy watch on a Sunday afternoon when you're not in the mood for grief and explorations of loss. Watch Nonnas.
Yeah.
Very straightforward, simple film about grandmothers cooking, and it stars Vince Vaughn. Like, it doesn't get more massy than Vince Vaughn.
Oh, no trashy than that.
Yeah, more trashy or massy than Vince. Though, to be fair to him, it's not a trashy film, but yeah, it's definitely a very easy watch and a wholesome watch. So there are four film recommendations for today.
Yeah. But my dear audience, please keep in mind that I didn't need any prompting to give you, very accessible, very easy, very off the people kind of recommendations. All mine are like movies that you can watch at any time kind of. No art house for me. So guess who's your favorite host? That's all for this episode. Thank you for listening in. We hope you enjoyed the show and learned something new. If you liked what you heard, please consider subscribing to our podcast and leaving us a review on your favorite podcast platform wherever you're listening right now. It helps us reach a wider audience and allows more people to discover and enjoy the show. It is a fact that most of the people who listen to our podcast are not actually subscribed. So please go hit that subscribe button and follow us. We are available on every podcast platform and on YouTube as well. So please go ahead and click subscribe there. We'd also love to hear from you, your feedback, your suggestions, even your trivia. Just send us a mail at areyouquizzingme@gmail.com. But keep the name of the quizmaster in the subject line so that only that person will read the question and ask it on the show blind. You can reach us out on Instagram at areyouquizzingme. Please again follow us over there. We have a subreddit, a community on Reddit called r/areyouquizzingme, where you can meet other fans of the show. And occasionally Aditya also, who's also a Redditor, he pops up in there once in a while. We appreciate your support and look forward to sharing more episodes with you. Thank you again for tuning in. Have a great day.
See you guys next week.
And now you can stop recording.
Okay.